Today is Friday, September 10th. Welcome to this edition of Nevada County Now. Today's episode, we're talking housing, new health order, policing, and more. This episode is brought to you in part by Stifel Financial, and also the generous donations of viewers like you. Thank you. Hello and welcome to Nevada County Now. I'm your host, Cole Pettit. This week's Nevada City Council meeting featured a large amount of public comment. A group called Live, Work, Thrive Nevada County organized what they called a rally to address the local housing crisis, and they made up the bulk of the comments during the initial public commenting period. Let's hear what some of them had to say.
My name is Aurora Packard. I'm a local social worker, and I work with Bright Futures for Youth. And specifically, I work with youth experiencing housing insecurity. My population, kids that I work with, who literally work in your local grocery stores, who work in your local construction firms, who work in downtown restaurants, they struggle every day to have housing, find affordable housing. In fact, it's nearly impossible for them to even find roommate situations near where they live. The Cottage Ordinance would help this immensely.
My name is Michael Taylor. I live just outside of Nevada City, just outside of the sphere of influence. So I would have to say that I'm very supportive of this ordinance, and I'm very supportive for all the reasons you've already heard tonight. And I think mostly we need to understand how to keep youth involved in the city. And I think smart, healthy growth that keeps a younger population in the city working, going to school, makes a lot of sense.
Much of their comments were focused around the Cottage Ordinance, which had not been passed at the Planning Commission meeting on August 19th. And if you're not familiar with the Cottage Ordinance, you're in luck because MaryJane Huenergart is here to tell us more.
Hello, Nevada County. During September and October, I'm going to be focused on the rather fraught local topic of housing. At the end of each segment, I offer an email address where you can contact me to provide feedback or ideas. And if you'd like to point out a local policy, proposed ordinance, action, or inaction, please contact me about it. Today, I'm going to focus on a proposed Nevada City Municipal Code update called the Cottage Dwelling Development Ordinance. This ordinance was proposed by city staff to the Planning Commission last year in response to Nevada City Council's request to come up with a way to increase affordable housing available in Nevada City. And such housing needed to be affordable by design, not deed restriction. In other words, rather than saying to a housing developer, hey, developer, you need to make, say, 25% of the units of your new development affordable to very low, and moderate income folks, staff needed to find a way to encourage the building of houses that were affordable in their very design. And the only realistic way to do that, given our real estate market prices are pretty much based on square footage around here, is to make them small. In exchange for making small dwellings on their properties, the developers would be incentivized with less red tape and lower fees. For example, the ordinance and AB 1600 development fees assume that the average local homeowner can afford a 1,500 square foot house. And here's how a cottage dwelling development would work. For people of very low income, a 500 square foot cottage would be built. And since 500 is a third of 1,500, the fee would be a third of the average single-family dwelling fee. For people of low income, a 750 square foot cottage would be built, and since 750 is half of 1,500, the fee would be half of the average single-family dwelling fee. And for people of moderate income, a 1,000 square foot cottage would be built, and since 1,000 is 2/3 of 1,500, the fee would be 2/3 of the average single-family dwelling fee. Make sense? So the idea here is to mix and match these cottages in order to fulfill what would be allowable on a parcel. In a theoretical world, if a 1,500 square foot building is allowable on a parcel, you, the developer, could build, say, a very low and a moderate, or two lows. Since the occupancy is presumed to be on average 2 adults per house for planning purposes, suddenly you've tripled or doubled the amount of people with dwellings on that one parcel. I specified theoretical world because this ordinance is not being proposed for R1 zoning, R1 being, of course, single-family residential zoning. For now, the proposal is targeting R2 and R3 zoning. Currently, R2 is meant to accommodate up to 8 housing units per acre, and R3 is meant for 16. Another part of the proposal is that those density numbers would increase significantly when a cottage dwelling development was proposed for an R2 or R3 parcel. The highest possible density here, represented by acreage containing R3 parcels, is 32 units per acre of 500 square foot properties, intended to be affordable at a very low income level. Currently, Nevada City R2 and R3 zoning comprise a total of 28.77 acres, most of that being R2. If my math is right, this ordinance, implemented with R2 and R3 zoning, would mean adding up to 541 new dwellings to Nevada City. Last month, Nevada City Planner Amy Wolfson presented the ordinance in front of the current Planning Commission in order to seek clarity on a question. Commercial zoning typically allows for R2 in addition to, retail stores, office space, spas, the commercial stuff. They wanted to know if, when doing the CEQA report on the ordinance for a full, juicy, numbers-laden presentation, they should include commercial due to its R2 allowance. Ultimately, it was decided that commercial definitely should not be included, and that staff should try to retool the cottage dwelling development ordinance so that it would not be a sweeping change to zoning implementations. In other words, kind of back to the drawing table. The ordinance does have a lot of support from affordable housing advocates across the county, including the Nevada County Association of Realtors and the Youth Continuum of Care, so expect to see this idea pop up again soon. It has been my privilege to bring you a brief piece on a local political issue. Again, I'm dedicating September and October to local housing. Email me at ncnpolitics@gmail.com to comment on this piece or suggest a topic for future segments. And remember, when it comes to politics, if you're not at the table, you might be on the menu. Thanks for staying informed, Nevada County.
Thanks, MaryJane. Also at this week's Nevada City Council meeting, the council voted on the removal of Planning Commissioner Laurie Oberholtzer, who was appointed by now Vice Mayor Doug Fleming. There was another large amount of public comment on this issue, with voices on both sides of the matter, as well as a spirited discussion amongst the council members. Let's take a quick look.
But let me pull back the curtain. Pay attention, citizens. This is what I see. We're down a city manager. We're down a chief of police. We are down a finance director. We are down a public works director. We are down several police officers and administrative staff. And we as a council, what do we want to do? We want to fire a planning commissioner. We're also in the process of recruiting a city manager. So I would say to the candidates who are undoubtedly watching this meeting, if you are good, we want you to come here and work for us. And I promise we are not as dysfunctional and irrational as this conversation makes us appear. I am not here to justify the actions or behaviors of Commissioner Oberholtzer. Believe me, Laurie is well aware of my feelings on this matter. I am here to say that this decision is not justified. I can also assure you that the decision being made will have consequences far into the future that will ultimately make us regret what is being done. So again, I ask, can we please back off this, take care of the crisis in which we are in, and fix this planning process so it actually serves the needs of our entire community?
I will cast my vote for the future, for a Nevada City that welcomes young families, entrepreneurs, and working class people to thrive, for a Nevada City that welcomes innovation with smart growth for modern rural economies. I will always look to the past to better understand what we got right and where we went wrong. But tonight, I will cast my vote for the future. We heard all those people at the beginning of this. We are not doing enough for people in our community. And I see this person as a barrier to that.
We need affordable housing. Everybody on this council agrees with that. There's just no question. It's just a matter of how we get there. Laurie, she is the one who co-authored the Affordable Housing Ordinance for Nevada City. I mean, and so you can't say that she's anti-affordable housing. I mean, there's a 30% requirement now, and anybody who develops anything to have 30% of those units affordable. And that's because of Laurie. The way this was brought to us was that Laurie was divisive on the council, and there were personal problems with her. It wasn't about her policy views. It was about her tableside manner.
All I can say is this is probably one of the most, if not the most uncomfortable thing I've had to do in my time, all these years on council. But nobody tonight at this meeting is blindsided by this. It's not something that happened because of the Cottage ordinance. There was a list a mile long of things that have been building towards this. And I think all the parties involved had plenty of opportunities before this to remedy this. And it came to the point that there was no other options.
Ultimately, the council voted 3-2 to remove Commissioner Oberholtzer, with Doug Fleming and Gary Petersen as the noes. We're still seeing significant spread of COVID-19 throughout our community. Our overall total now sits at 7,838 confirmed cases, an increase of 335 cases this week. 752 cases are currently active with 22 hospitalizations, and unfortunately we've had another 4 deaths from this time last week, bringing our total to 89. With more on the COVID situation as well as additional news from the county, here's Taylor Wolf, Public Information Officer for the County of Nevada.
Thanks, Cole. For today's Nevada County update, I'll share the latest on COVID-19, review what residents should keep in mind during red flag warning weather conditions, and another reminder to get out and vote by September 14th. COVID transmission in Nevada County continues to be at record highs. Last week, we saw the second highest number of new cases added to our dashboard. This Tuesday, we saw the highest number of new cases added to our dashboard. And due to the Delta variant, we continue to see more cases in children 0 to 17. With the high transmission rates in schools, Nevada County Health Officer Dr. Scott Kellerman updated the local health order this week to clarify school quarantine protocols and require a testing and contact tracing program approved by the health officer.
If you're unimmunized and if you're exposed, you can still attend school, but you need to be tested twice a week. Shortened quarantine, which is different, then you have to stay home. After 5 days, you can be tested, and after 7 days, if your test is negative and you're asymptomatic, you can return to school. It defines what quarantine means with respect to extracurricular activities. But the extra step is just public health working in a close collaboration with all the schools to make sure that their testing protocols and their programs they have in place conform to what is reasonable public health standards. And the whole focus of this is just make sure that the kids have a safe place to study free of COVID-19.
If you are experiencing COVID-like symptoms or have had a COVID exposure, book an appointment at lhi.care/COVID testing. All 3 COVID vaccines are safe, effective, and widely available. Book an appointment or find a walk-in and pop-up clinics at myturn.ca.gov. Public Health also announced that they had achieved national accreditation through the Public Health Accreditation Board. National accreditation is an optional, rigorous, and multi-year process to ensure that the department meets or exceeds the high-quality standards supported by the CDC and Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. Let's hear from Public Health Director Jill Blake's thoughts on this achievement.
It's a really big deal. I just want to say it is a big deal. This team worked so hard. We worked for years to get accredited. And what that means is we were really involved in a process where we were taking a look at how we conduct business, what we do. We worked to identify areas of strength, and when we identified, we continued to work to improve those areas. We also worked to identify areas where there were opportunities for improvement, and we worked to improve in those areas as well. But basically, it was a comprehensive process where we had to demonstrate compliance with over 100 measures in 12 domains, basically demonstrating that we are functioning as a gold standard public health department should.
Nevada County has been under another red flag warning for fire weather conditions for the latter portion of this week. During these conditions, stay prepared for a PG&E public safety power shutoff event. Have a full tank of gas in your car and your go bag ready. Know your zone and make sure you are subscribed to Code Red emergency alerts. The National Weather Service issues a red flag warning when a combination of strong winds, high temperatures and low humidity levels, dry fuels, and the possibility of dry lightning strikes occur, and this all increases the likelihood of extreme fire behavior. However, it is important to stay ready and fire safe throughout fire season. Find more preparedness information at readynevadacounty.org. There is less than 1 week to vote in the governor recall election. 2 additional vote centers in Grass Valley at the Gold Miners Inn and Higgins Lyon Community Center will open this Saturday through Election Day, September 14th, in addition to the 2 already open at the Eric Rood Center in Nevada City and the Truckee Town Hall. Find more information on how to vote by mail, where our 14 drop-box locations are located, or where you can vote in person at mynevadacounty.com/elections. That's it for my Nevada County update this week. Find all this information and more by subscribing to our weekly newsletter at mynevadacounty.com/Nevada County News. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thanks, Taylor. Next Thursday, the 16th, Nevada City is hosting a virtual town hall meeting titled Public Safety and the Future of Policing in Nevada City. For more, we're joined by Nevada City Council member Gary Petersen.
Hi there, my name is Gary Petersen, City Council member for Nevada City. I am here to ask you to join Daniela Fernandez, City Council person from Nevada City, and myself in a virtual town hall meeting to discuss the future of public safety in Nevada City. The meeting takes place next Thursday, September 16th at 6 p.m. The information about the virtual town hall and a citizen survey is available on Nevada City website at nevadacityca.com. This is an important meeting as we're considering how best to shape the future of public safety in our community. We need your input, we need your information so that we can deliberate on all of the data that we've collected and the council can make the best possible decisions about our future. Please plan on joining us next Thursday. Go to the city's website, register for the town hall, and take the citizen survey. Thank you. I look forward to you joining us.
Thanks, Gary. Rudiger Foundation's 2021 Paw and Order Dinner is coming up soon. The event will take place Friday, September 24th at Miners Foundry Cultural Center parking lot. Sadly, due to the increasing COVID-19 numbers, it will be a drive-through event for the 2nd year in a row. So drive through to pick up your dinner, including a pre-ordered entrees of your choice, prepared by Chef Antonio Ayesteron. This year, the delectable options are short ribs, salmon, and portobello Wellington. You will be greeted by their canine officers and their handlers, as well as a number of special guests. Tickets are $100 per person and must be purchased in advance at rufk9.org. Additionally, there's an online auction beginning Sunday, September 19th, and it will close on September 26th at noon. Once live, auction details will be provided on their website and social media pages. This is the only annual fundraising event hosted by the Rudiger Foundation, and proceeds support their 5 working and 1 retired Nevada County Canine officers. Special thanks to the event sponsors. We'll leave you tonight with some informational clips about the Rudiger Foundation. And remember, stay safe, take care of each other. We'll see you next week.
Connectivity is really what it's all about. We feel the work we do is vital in strengthening the relationship between law enforcement and our entire community. We will continue supporting our 5 working canines, some of whom will be retiring in the next few years. We will provide replacement dogs as well as make certain that our retired canine officers who have earned our respect and support have comfort in their golden years. We will provide an accelerant detection dog to local fire agencies when they are ready, and will meet any additional local requests from police agencies. With no office space and no paid staff, every contribution you make to Rudiger Foundation is thoughtfully and carefully directed to our mission to provide canine resources to local agencies. We recognize that without you, we can't continue the important work we do. All that we do is only possible because of your support. We thank you.